In other news, demand at home here in Korea continues to show signs of recovery, but rather at a slower pace. Our Moon Hye-ryeon has the details.
Seoul's finance ministry has maintained that the country's domestic demand is continuing its recovery momentum for the fourth month in a row. That's according to its latest economic greenbook, a monthly assessment report released on Friday. However, there was a difference in the wording for this month's report, which described the recovery of domestic demand as gradual rather than simply showing signs of recovery like last month's report. The ministry's positive take on domestic demand was at odds with the outlook from the Korea Development Institute earlier this month, which lowered the country's economic growth forecast by a percentage point to 2.5%, citing weak domestic demand as a reason behind this decision. In June, retail sales, a key gauge of private spending and domestic demand, rose 1% compared to May. But when compared with the same month the year before, it was down by nearly 4%. Facility investment also saw an on-month gain but an on-year decline. The government said the reasons for its optimistic report were the nation's booming exports and an improvement in consumer sentiment. July saw export growth of 13.9% compared to the same month the year before on the back of a recovery in South Korea's tech industry. Outbound shipments of chips increased by 50% on year, while exports of wireless communication devices and computers jumped by 54% and 62% respectively. Exports performed well generally, with 11 out of the country's 15 key export sectors seeing a rise. With the semiconductor boom, South Korea's trade balance in June posted its largest surplus in nearly 7 years, with the goods account marking 15 months of continuous growth. Consumer sentiment in July also showed an improvement, with the Consumer Sentiment Index rising nearly 3 points compared to June.
The CSI reached 103.6 points, which is the highest recorded since April 2020. We are perceiving this as a positive sign for consumer sentiment.
The year-on-year increase for consumer prices recorded in July was in the 2% range at 2.6%, with prices of vegetables affected by heavy rain, as well as high global crude oil prices driving prices up. The finance ministry said it would work to stabilize people's livelihoods in the second half of the year and reinforce domestic demand. Moon Hye-ryeon, Arirang News.